Hi, welcome to Pioneer Valley Life. I'm James Sullivan, your host. My guest today is Terry Marashlian. Welcome, Terry.
Thank you, James.
Terry, you've been around the Pioneer Valley almost as long as I have, probably about the same time. I went to as a freshman in 1963 at UMass Amherst.
Yeah, that's when I started, I believe, 63, yes, I started UMass Amherst.
So that's a long time we've been around the area, in and out. Not here the full time, but in and out.
That's right. That's right.
And you now live in Northfield.
Northfield, yes.
Yeah, great. Terry is an installation artist and a sculptor. So my first question would be, what is an installation artist?
Oh, that took me by surprise. An installation artist. Well, I might find various sites and create a piece of work that blends into the site somehow or makes reference to the site. And usually it'd be larger scale, for me, outdoor work, but people do indoor installations too.
Yeah.
But the installation basically tells a story, it has a narrative to it. And when you're viewing the installation, you almost become part of the installation. So it gives the viewer a more close-up view. And
the viewer becomes part of the installation.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, that's great, yeah. Just to give a little background about you, because I know you a bit, I know you worked quite a while as a machinist.
I did.
And I imagine that some of the techniques and processes that you learned during that time period probably helped you later on when you started making installations.
It did, to some degree. For me, being an installation artist / sculptor, I kind of like utilize learning that's happened with me my whole life, So when I'm in a project, I have a concept, and then in order to create that concept, I have to go to various materials, various construction methods, all various things, and it helps to have a background knowledge, not in depth, but some background knowledge of where I'm going. So the learning curve, I'm not an expert welder, I'm not an expert woodworker, none of those would I say I'm not an expert at, but I'm good with tools, and I can, like I say, what I really try to do is serve the concept,
Right.
I'm not too, the means of getting there is important, and I'm not trying to minimize that, but welding is not my focus.
Right.
Woodworking is not my focus.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you visualize a project, then you draw upon the things you've learned to make that a finished piece.
Yes, it's all in service to the finished piece. That's right.
Right.
And I have to learn new stuff. That's the way it is, and it's wonderful with the internet because there are videos that show you how to do all different kinds of things. So if there's some process that I'm not familiar with, then I can learn it.
Right.
But on the piece we're going to see, there's the process where I make the pyramids, which we'll talk about. But I learned that back I worked for a sign shop for about 3 months. And they made stainless steel signs with stainless steel letters. And I learned how to produce those letters there.
Yeah.
And it's something that that was 50 years ago, 60 years ago. Yeah.
So I know that you have a couple degrees, one in philosophy and one in fine arts from San Francisco State.
That's right. I have a Bachelor of Science degree, Associate of Science degree in sign language interpreting.
Yeah.
Then I went to FIU and I got a bachelor's degree in philosophy. Then I went to San Francisco State University, got a degree in master's degree in philosophy, and had got accepted to a PhD program at UC Santa Barbara. But while I was finishing up that master's degree in philosophy, I had extra courses I could take, so I started taking sculpture courses, and I realized that this is what I really love doing.
Uh-huh.
You know, philosophy is fine. I wanted those letters behind my name,
Yeah.
but everybody I talked with, parent, my mother, my advisors, everybody advised me to go with my heart,
Yeah.
and that was really easy. In fact, my philosophy mentor said that, you know, you're going to be writing and writing and writing, and nobody's going to read it, or hardly anybody will read it, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and you know, part of doing sculpture is performance part of it. You know,
Yeah.
I think art is a performance. You know, even if I'm a painter painting on a canvas and I don't have an audience, I'm performing for myself too.
Right.
The brush strokes,
Yeah.
my movement, all of that is
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what attracted me to
Yeah.
sign language interpreting. Too.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah, that was a performance.
It is,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So was your time in San Francisco, was that when you first started creating installation art pieces?
No, I back in the late '60s. I started doing art. You know, I did
yeah.
installation art. I took a lot of art courses at UMass. I never got a degree there. I had 100 credits, and I dropped out. And, you know, led that alternative lifestyle, but I did make art then too. You know, I've been making art for a long time,
Right.
but not as focused as I am now.
Yeah.
You know, right now I have to be making. If I'm not making art, I'm not very happy. You know?
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, I believe that if I'm not making art, then I'm not an artist, you know, because it's like, I talked with somebody about this. I want to do an installation called Water Under the Bridge, you know.
Uh-huh, yeah.
So all the pieces I do and finish, it's like water under the bridge, you know. What I'm doing now is the most important thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we'll move on to your most recent project, which is called Players.
Players, yes.
It's an installation on the side of the athletic building at Landmark College in Putney, Vermont.
That's correct.
I know you had previously had a couple installation pieces there on the grounds of Landmark, and your association with them probably led to your commission to do this particular project.
It did, because I have 2 solar pieces there, and those solar pieces, they love them, but they require maintenance, you know, so I have to change the motors every year or so. So I have a kind of like a maintenance contract with them where
Right.
I go up there and they pay for the materials and stuff. I
Right,
don't make
right.
any money at it, but
Right.
and I maintain those. So I have close contact with Dr. Peter Eden, who's the president of Landmark, and about 4 or 5 years ago, I started pitching him about I want to do some pieces on his fine arts building. The front of the building is nice; it faces the campus, but the back of the building is pretty austere. And I said I could do really nice. I could do, instead of like this piece references sports activities, what I wanted to do is reference various art activities like painters,
Right.
performing arts, just all different, everything that all the disciplines they taught in their art department, their fine arts department.
Right.
That's what I would have put up there. Same idea, figures up there, but I hadn't explored the idea too much, so I wasn't sure how I was going to do it. I knew it would be silhouetted figures, but as I started thinking about it, and I came up, you know, expanded the idea so that I got these sparkling figures.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, having seen the piece, you know, those are the most distinguishing to me parts of the pieces, is the way that they sparkle.
Oh, they do sparkle, yeah. And a lot of my work is like that, though.
Yeah.
That over time that changes. You
Right,
know?
right.
And there's some work I've done, you know, people ask me about it, I said, well, if you weren't there, you missed it. You know,
Right.
That's the nature of doing
Right.
installation art.
Yeah, I remember you showed me one of your first pieces in San Francisco with pieces of salt on the beach, and the
Yeah.
waves eventually
That's right.
dissolved them.
Yeah.
So the piece was there, like you say. If you weren't there,
You missed it.
you missed it.
Right. Took 9 months to get that piece ready. It took, the installation started at 4 o'clock in the morning because I had to install the pieces when it was low tide. And there were 2 sets of pieces, these sharp, jagged pieces, which follow the path of from the rising sun to till it got into about the 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then a set of more rounded pieces, which followed. The moon was about at the 12 o'clock position, and those pieces followed the moon as it set. So the moon's setting, sun's rising, tide's coming in.
Yeah, great.
By 2 o'clock, it was all gone. And
Yeah,
just to get back to the performance part of it, the tide didn't come in far enough to wash away the last set of pieces. So like a madman, I grabbed the pieces, and they were big pieces. So I had to break them in half and ran into the ocean with them. I just wanted to make sure it all get back into the ocean. you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be viewing a video of the piece up in at Landmark, and it shows it's a video that goes across the panorama of the whole project.
Yeah.
So as part of to get it up there on the wall was probably quite the process.
It was. I mean, I did a piece in Turner's Falls that was on the side of a building. I did a piece at San Francisco State that's on the side of the building. So I had been up on aerial lifts before, so I knew that how I was going to do it. And, putting it up there was not the real, making the pieces was the real complicated part of it. Putting them up there got on the list. But I knew what I was doing, so I made templates of the pieces and put those up. When I went up on the lift, put those up, drilled the holes so they'd be straight. Can't put them in at an angle. And then brought the templates down. When I brought the piece up, everything lined up, so I could just bolt it right on. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the piece is made up of 4 figures.
4 figures. Yeah.
And with 3 sports.
Yeah.
So that across the building, and people will be looking at that photo as we're talking, that shows those 4. And this piece here is a volleyball player, correct?
That's right. So the way it goes, if you're viewing the video, is it starts on the left of the building, and that piece is called Slam Dunk. And that's a basketball player, slam dunk.
Yeah.
The next set is the lower 2, and that's the soccer piece.
Yeah.
And that's a kicker and a goaltender.
Yeah.
And the third piece is the volleyball player, calling dig save.
Right.
So it's slam dunk, shot on goal, dig save.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
And as people will see in the video, the beauty of it is that as the day, especially in the morning, as the sun rises, it changes. The pieces change completely based on the angle of the sun, etc. And as we talked before about, it sparkles, and that's due to the construction, which you'll be able to see a little bit in some of the pictures, but they're basically, this piece here is going to reflect the sun in different ways.
That's right. And if you let me have another one, and you can see that as I move them, they're sparkling, because they're 3 different sides of refracting the light from different directions.
As they're doing right here.
Yeah, just exactly like they're doing right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so how many, for instance, in the volleyball player, how many pyramids are there?
Well, it varies from 190 to 250 or 60.
Yeah.
The total, I think the total number of pyramids I constructed was about 900 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's like that's a strategy in art making.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obsessive process.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
that part of it was obsessive process. You know, took
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I visited you a few times in your workshop, and it was how long did it take you actually? It took you.
Well, I got the commission. Like I said, going back to pitching Dr. Eden, they didn't go for some reason. They didn't want to do that one. So then there was a brand new soccer field, and I started. I said, "Oh, I'll do a soccer piece,"
Yeah.
which was shot on goal. Same idea, and Dr. Eden liked it a lot, and he said, "But nobody's going to see it there. The soccer fields."
Yeah.
He says, "Yeah." He says, there's the Click Family Center is right across from my office window, and I'm sick of looking at that blank wall all the time, a big blank space."
Yeah.
And I said, maybe we can do it there, and he liked it a lot.
Yeah.
So we had several of the people, the faculty on campus, and a lot of the grounds people and just people who took care of the college. It was a group effort that we came up with these three pieces. Yeah. And he said, "Well, how much?" And I gave him a price, and for some reason he felt like we needed to negotiate it, And that's so funny because, negotiating my artwork is like, wait a minute, this is my work. I get to say how much it is. No
Right.
But I did negotiate because I wanted it up there.
Right. Yeah.
So we negotiated a price, and they started making it then in the middle of November. But I'd done a lot of the footwork.
Right.
And there's a lot of computer drawing involved with this. So I had to draw them all out, and every single pyramid is different. There's none, it isn't like I could make a drawing of one pyramid and then place them in there. Every one is different. Everyone.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because we'll show some pictures, like you talk about process, and there is a process that that you go through to build these pieces.
Yeah.
And I know your workshop, you've got a lot of tools, and we'll be showing some pictures. Like the first picture we'll show will just how you've actually laid out the outline of the project.
Yeah. I believe there's a picture in here. Oh, it's not here.
Yeah.
But so that's the outline of the project. So,
right.
And that didn't happen first. What happens first is I do the drawing program. The pyramids are all on the drawing.
Yeah.
I go to the printer and have them make a full-size image of the outline.
Yeah.
Then I put the image onto my table, trace it.
Yeah.
And then I have to go back to my computer and fit in every single single triangle.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is all done in your workshop, So we'll show a few pictures that I just selected out that show some of the things that'll give an idea of finished pieces and what it takes and.
Right.
But it's a very elaborate process.
Oh, it is. And every single triangle in every piece on the backside of pyramid is numbered, etched in number.
Yeah.
And then once I get the framework done and then put on a skin, then I lay out the triangles again and transfer the numbers to the skin. So every it's just like you could take it apart and put it back together again.
Yeah.
Because it's all numbered. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's an elaborate process.
It is.
Certainly we're not going to share any of your proprietary information.
No, I just feel like I've developed a way to work with stainless
Right,
steel
right, right.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
is not about welding. You know,
Yeah.
you can't weld the stainless steel. The mirror finished is 26 gauge, which is 18 thousandths, and it's almost impossible to weld 18 thousandths.
Uh-huh.
So I've come up with a method of putting them together
Right.
that doesn't require welding.
Right. Right.
It's not my
right,
method,
Right.
but yeah.
Yeah. And then we're going to share a picture of you staring at one of the pieces
Yeah.
on the outside of your workshop.
That's
just
right.
to give a perspective of size.
Yeah, they're all, they're all like based on 9-foot figures.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah,
whether
yeah.
if they're down in like on dig save,
Yeah.
or the slam dunk piece where the legs are up, and
Yeah. Yeah.
they're still all based on 9-foot figures.
Okay,
Except on the shot on goal, the kicker is based on a 9-foot
Yeah.
figure, but the goaltender is shortened.
Right. Right.
So I
yeah,
like
yeah.
foreshortening
Yeah.
so that it gives us three-dimensional
Right.
effect to
Right.
it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It
yeah,
looks
yeah.
behind, looks like the kicker is kicking towards the goal. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So those are just the,
Yeah.
that's painterly, you know.
Right,
And
right.
this is almost painterly in a way.
Yes. Oh yeah.
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 So I know it's interesting in that a lot of your projects actually end up in your yard in Northfield.
Right. I'm making art because I want to make art. I'm
Right.
not making art because I want to make a living making art.
Right.
Not that I don't want to do that.
Right.
But that's not my main
Yeah,
driving
right.
force. Money is not
Yeah, yeah.
my driving force. So I want to make art, and I've got a nice palette. I've got my own little sculpture garden in Northfield,
Yep.
and I can make whatever I want and put it up in my yard.
Yeah.
And some it's real big. Some of it
Yeah,
is
yeah,
real big,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah. I know one piece that you have there. I know you had a specific intent with this piece called "Shadow on the Land,"
Yeah.
and so we're going to show a video of that. So why don't you talk about your idea for that piece?
Okay. So I have a series that I do called Shadows, and in this Shadows series, what I do is find structures that are significant in one way or another to one group of people, or even to the culture or society, politically, and I reconstruct those things, and I make them. I do the construction. They're the same size, same shape, but I cover them with black netting.
Uh-huh.
So I had a piece here called Wigwam Shadows, which was 7 wigwams who were the Native
yeah.
American abodes.
Yeah.
And then that went away. But so I do the Shadows piece. So this is like a few years back, and we were experiencing, we still are, mass shootings at schools.
Yeah.
And it was really very upsetting for me, and I just wanted to make some kind of response to it. So I came up with this idea. First, I said, I'm going to make a giant AR-15. This is a strategy to make oversized things and put it in my yard. But my partner, she didn't want a giant AR-15 next to the house. So I said, okay. So then I had this idea. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll make a silhouette of an AR-15
Yeah.
out of gravestones.
Ah, yeah.
So
yeah.
I made wooden gravestones, low, and I made them in the shape of an AR-15. It's probably like 80 feet long. And then in front of that, I put another little cemetery with stand-up gravestones. And across the gravestones, it says, "A shadow on our land."
Uh-huh.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor.
Right.
And I don't think I even have to explain it.
Right, right,
A shadow on our land.
Yes. Yeah.
If you don't
yeah.
believe that, well,
Yeah.
yeah, you need to be, I don't know what, but
Right. Right.
no more political stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of the players, yeah. Would you do it again?
When I finished it, I was exhausted from it. I
Yeah.
was 6 months solid. My studio is connected to my house, and I get up in the middle of the night and go out there in my PJs or less and work.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like continual work. When I was finished, I was pretty well exhausted. But then 2 weeks went by, and I said, you know, I could do that again. So that's really where I'm at. That I'm putting out feelers now where I would like to do it again. I'd like to do another one, maybe not the same figures, but sports figures would be great. And you talked about making money. You know, it's like, okay, the university, I mean, the college paid me, but if I could get a sports venue and do it, I'd be thrilled, you know.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I could probably make more than $3 an hour that I
Right,
get for
right.
doing my
Yeah.
art, you know.
Yeah, because, you know, professional sports alone, college sports, there's venues for every single sport.
That's right.
And there's, you know, figures that you could design for every single sport. So
Right.
there's a lot of potential there.
So, you know, it's like, why can't I have some money when I'm alive instead of my relatives getting it when I'm dead, right?
Right. Okay, Terry, it's been great to talk with you.
Yeah, I mean,
and,
this has been fun. I enjoy it, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, maybe someday somebody's driving around in Northfield and they'll go down the road and they'll go, what's that over there?
Right.
And then they'll see, oh, that's probably Terry's house.
That's right. That's right.
You know, and because there's very interesting pieces there.
There
That's
are.
the
There's
thing,
a lot
from
of
all
pieces there, yeah.
periods in your, you know, in your.
And
in
they've
your
changed. You know?
Yeah,
Every
exactly.
single piece in that field next to the house has changed.
Yeah.
I did one on an oil spill.
Yeah.
I did the wigwam shadows.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, okay. Thanks again, Terry. Thanks for being here. Thanks for talking about Pioneer Valley life.
Yeah. Thank you, James.
Yeah.
I appreciate this.
Sure. And to the viewers out there, thanks for watching Pioneer Valley Life, and we hope you'll tune in again. Thanks.